really get to the root of the question, which is, can we take more people in? And if they're coming without us planning, how do we prepare for that? What should we be doing?
Yeah, well, we can take more, and I would support taking more. I think we can afford to be a generous country, and it's always proven to be our benefit in the long run. But yes, the federal government has responsibility for the borders. I would like to see a high level of immigration, a high level of intake of refugees, but therefore we got to set aside the funding to resource it.
It's like I asked AI to generate an image of 4 excessively boring upper middle class people, right? Like that's a real feast for the eyes. It's exactly what a CBC ad issue panel would look like. And if you've ever watched these ad issue panels, if you want to suffer like our operations manager, it's not a vigorous panel like what you would expect. Like you would put together a panel and some people are conservatives and some people are liberals, and there's a differing viewpoint on certain issues, which is a reflection of Canada, which is what CBC is supposed to be. But no, it's literally all the same. It's completely homogenous. They're just a bunch of champagne liberals agreeing with each other. And nobody on that panel would have disagreed with Andrew Coyne. Not a single one. I can't. Chantal Hebert. She probably agreed if I had to guess. The point of all of this is I'm slagging on CBC, but Andrew Coyne, as I said, is a member of Justin Trudeau's extended family. He is part of the media elite in this country, although you probably don't read him or care about what he has to say. I mean, he's on the CBC. No, nobody watches the CBC. But he writes for Post Media, which is, I think, one of the largest, if not the largest, non-CBC bailout recipient. And then he has appearances on CBC. He doesn't say anything controversial as far as the liberal agenda goes. And so he's a well-kept sort of member of Canada's social class. So do you think that he has to deal with the impacts of out of control immigration, like what he would like to see for the rest of us? Do you think that he has to worry about, am I ever going to be able to afford a home? Do you think he has to worry about food inflation or wait lines at a hospital because we have an increased healthcare capacity along with the size of the population? Do you think that he has to deal with a homeless encampment in his neighborhood because of the social fallout related to increased immigration that drives people out of jobs? If jobs don't keep up to immigration, it drives people out of houses. If houses don't keep up with immigration, like, do you think he has to deal with all of those things? Or is he a low liability advice giver? Because it's easy for him to say, yeah, let's just let her rip. Just shoot a fire hose of migrants into this country and let us drink it all down. Of course he can say that because he doesn't have to deal with it. So he's a low liability advice giver. If he doesn't really have skin in the game here, right? I know Olivia found Chantal Hebert's comments. Is it on the same topic? Doesn't even matter. Okay, let's just hear what she had to say.
I am not convinced that this debate, the way that it is being framed, is going to do any good, but I am convinced that it will do harm to the image of asylum seekers, many of whom are not here for the wrong reasons, and their kids, with the Quebec government now deciding that it shouldn't be forced to offer daycare to people who actually have a work permit and are seeking asylum in this country. It's a debate that is not being handled on either side on an adult basis.
Well, let me just end on that
I think
point.
that's good. I think that's good. So she fundamentally agrees with Andrew Coyne. We need more asylum seekers. We need more refugees. We need more migrants. And if you disagree, then you are not handling the debate like an adult. For example, right now in Quebec, they're saying, we cannot provide our coveted Alberta subsidized daycare program to people who only have a work permit. It has to be for citizens of Quebec and not illegal migrants. And because they can't afford it. And as an Albertan, I can't afford to continue giving money to Quebec to give out daycare subsidies that we would never in our wildest dreams be able to afford in Alberta. And Quebec wisely is saying, no, we have to limit this to the people who are here. And so if you say that, if you talk about the fiscal reality of unfettered migration, wherever you fall down on the issue of migration, but if you talk about the fiscal strains of unfettered migration, well, you're not being a grown-up, according to these completely milquetoast panelists who just sit there and nod at each other. Like they don't even have a discussion. They just are like, yep, thumbs up, Andrew. Okay, cool, Chantel. Like, could we even have remotely a reflection of the rest of this country? Or is it just, Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal talking to each other and agreeing with each other all the time on the CBC? I guess I'll have to watch more to find out.